Good evening. I will now call to order the study session meeting of October 6th, 2025. Members of the public are invited to attend in-person City Council meetings in council chambers on the lower level of City Hall. Public access to tonight's meeting is also available on the local government access channel 8 for Comcast subscribers, on the city's YouTube channel online, and by telephone using the call-in numbers posted on the meeting agenda. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Leidy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Luke Manjero-Massa. Here. Councilmember Burns will be absent. Councilmember Jaramillo.
Here.
Councilmember Kondo.
Here.
Councilmember Roper. Here. Councilmember Goff.
Here.
Councilmember Nowicki will be absent. And Councilmember Walker.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight we have two items on our study session agenda. The first one is Anythink Express Library. Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture, Amanda Peterson, will introduce this item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me tonight. We are excited to be able to share with you some information about the Anythink Library, self-service library, and what that model looks like. The purpose of, as I said, purpose of tonight is to share information. We have the Anythink team here with us, and they're going to do the bulk of the presentation this evening. I'd like to start with just some brief introductions. Anythink staff had talked with our staff several months ago about this concept of a express library here in the city, and we thought this was a great opportunity to be able to share, for them to share that directly with you, to be able to respond to any questions. But we're really excited about the opportunity to bring additional library services here to Northglenn. So on the city side, been working with Michael Stricker, our Culture and Community Manager, and Allison Moding, our Director of Economic Development. And then the Anythink team who's here this evening is Mark Fink, the Executive Director, and Paola Viglexa, the Director of DEIB and Community Engagement. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Paola to share their exciting news with you. Hand that over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paola Viglexa, and I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Belonging, and Community Engagement, and I am in charge of the expansion of Anythink Express and how we do services in an innovative and new way. So a little bit about why we are looking into this new model. Adams County is an expanding county, and we are looking into expanding library services, specifically here in Northglenn. We have identified that Northglenn users usually use the Huron Street Library and the Wright Farms Library, in addition to Pearl Mac, as their libraries, since there is no library services here in Northglenn. But we also know that there is many customers here that don't have easy access to transportation, and it would be really nice for them to have the services a little bit closer to home. So our idea with this service is to still reach our underserved communities while being good stewards of the taxpayers' money. So with that, we have identified self-services libraries as an efficient use of library resources and funding, and also a kind of like an innovative way that allows us to expand hours to access library materials, technology, and programs, which are the basic services that most people use the library for. So some of the benefits of a self-service library is that it's cost-effective and sustainable because we don't need staffing levels to maintain operations. We can be open longer hours, and we can be open for extended periods of time, so we can be open 7 days a week. It also meets most of the needs of an urban community. Is easily accessible for people on the go. It can be flexible and adaptable on that space, and I'm going to show you a little bit how it works so you can see what I'm talking about. So some of the characteristic of a self-service library model, this is the Express Library of Jefferson County Public Library in Nevada. They were the first ones to open one in the country. I used to work for them, so I know how that works. And usually part of that is that it has easy community access. It is located in a place that is near public transit, co-located with other services like grocery stores, schools, so it makes it an easy stop for people to stop at the library while they're doing other things in their lives. So with this, we incorporate the library on everyday life activities. It requires a very small footprint, approximately 2,000 square feet, which is great because it can be located at any mall area. It doesn't take a lot of space. Okay, as I said before, it allows for extended hours of operation. It can be open 7 days a week, including holidays, and also for an extended schedule, right? A little bit more than a regular library. It allows for independent use. People have access to the physical library space with the physical collection, right? And there's still space for browsing. People can check out materials by using the technologies that they already use at the library, like self-checkouts, their library cards with their barcodes, give them access to the entry, and they'll use people use their library cards as key cards, pretty much, both for entry and also for checking out materials. A lot of the questions that we get about self-service libraries is security. The libraries that exist nowadays have very modern security and surveillance systems that allows us to constantly monitor the activity inside of the library. There is control access that identifies every user that enters the library. Also security cameras and sensors that monitor the activity inside of the library, who goes in and out, and basically you're like watching every movement. Inside is a very small space too, so it doesn't allow for much space for hiding, right? It also has phone access, so people are connected to our customer service and also to 911 in case of an emergency. All the spaces are fully accessible. They're ADA compliant. They ensure access for all customers, and they feature things like automatic doors, accessible parking, and accessible restrooms. Okay. And so, as I said, an express library is basically a mini library or a boutique library. It still has a curated collection of physical materials. You can access a specialized collection that is curated especially for the community that serves. It also has popular books and DVDs and high demand items. So this is where you go to find your new bestseller, the last Taylor Swift album. And it also has some of the services that people use the most at the library. There are office center amenities, computers, printers, copiers, fax, scanners, Wi-Fi with plugs, so you can plug in your computer, and usually all the basic resources that we offer. I also want to add that Express Library doesn't replace a full-service library. The idea is to still invite people to participate on the larger events and programs that we offer at the full-services libraries. although we call this, a lot of people call this like staffless libraries. That is not completely true. A self-service library is minimally staffed. It requires for a daily touch point on someone to go maintain the facilities and also library-led programming. So we can have story times and we can have book clubs and we can still have the same type of interactions that we have in a regular library. Is just probably maybe once a day or a couple days a week. The help desk is still available over the phone, so you can still ask a librarian if you need to. But it allows for more hours of service because it doesn't need to have a person there to be open. There is returning materials is really easy. There is usually a return bin available outside of the library, so you can return your items anytime. So a little bit about what we have done already is that the budget for this project has been approved. So once we find a place, we can just move forward. We don't need to go through the approval of the budget for this project. And that budget will cover lease, tenant finish, and operations for the first year, and it's also already scheduled for future maintenance. Okay, so what is that we're looking for from now on is that we are looking to identify and secure a location. This is our, we haven't identified a space yet. We have looked at some, however, it has not been fruitful. So we are looking into a space, hopefully on the 120th Avenue corridor, and that is because that is the middle point between Wright Farms and Huron Street, and we would like to provide access to people that are like, that is the farthest point from any other library. We are already working with a commercial real estate agent who is helping us identify a place, and once we know of a place, then we can move forward with everything that has to do with the contract and agreements. So our community engagement plan is divided in 3 steps. An initial survey to kind of like just gauge the interest of the community on Express Library. Also, later on, once we start construction, to have a second service to help us for the community to help us define the scope of the services that we will provide during the design process. And finally, having a community meeting where we can have a little bit more input on what type of programs and services we will offer. So after we find a location and we can sign a contract for the lease, we will have to get involved on the design, the permitting, the construction, and decide on the furnishing and the equipment for the space. It requires minimal furnishing and equipment, so we hope that that can go pretty fast. And then we'll go to the second phase of the community engagement, so people can have a little bit of a say in terms of like, what is it gonna be more important? And then the final step would be to start planning for what collection we're gonna have there, what materials we're gonna have, what programs, what is gonna be our schedule. So that's why I haven't given you a schedule. Like, the idea is to hear a little bit from people and what is more convenient for them, right? And also how the maintenance is gonna work for this. So we hope to have a listening session for that and to hear from the community in terms of like what is that is going to be more beneficial for them. And then we install the furniture, turn the lights on, and we have a soft opening. We would like, because this is a new concept for us, we would like to try it for a couple months before we do our grand opening. So that is the plan, no dates, because everything moves forward since the moment we find a space. And I'm gonna take questions, and Mark is gonna take questions too if I can't have an
Okay.
answer.
Sounds great. Councilmember Jaramillo?
Thank you, Mayor Lighty, and thank you for this awesome presentation and great news. I'm glad that Northglenn will be having a Anythink library again. I grew up at the one on Huron Street, so I'll go there all the time with my dad, so great news. I can think of some potential commercial areas that we can look into, I feel. There's Washington Point, 120th and Washington, Northglenn Marketplace, 104th and I-25, Carl's Farm, 120th and Irma, and Webster Lake Promenade, just behind us over here, on 120th and Grant. I feel like those would all be areas along where you're thinking along 120th, but I'd also keep Northglenn Marketplace as an option too. There's a lot of storefronts that are open over there. I think we're trying to bring more energy to the area too, and it might be larger than 2,000 square feet, but I think there's a great opportunity there. Those are the areas that I thought of immediately, and I think it'd be great to look into those, and looking forward to this in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we are receiving input and through our partners at Northglenn, City of Northglenn. So we're receiving any connections or potential sites. We will look into them with our real estate agent.
Awesome, thank you.
Councilmember Walker?
Thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. I really like that you guys will have library programming there, as I know that's very important for parents. I like the extended hours for people with abnormal working schedules. I'm going to expand on Councilmember Jaramillo's ideas. I'm going to ask specifically, did you guys look at the marketplace, and was that an uneventful search there?
We did look at it, and our one thing that we are considering is that Marketplace is really close to the Huron Street Library. And that means that it doesn't add that much value to the community. What we want is to create a new library where people don't have access.
I would just add, Mark Fink, Executive Director. So one of the things that we've done is we've actually looked at our existing library customers. We can break down that data by residents and kind of see where people live and then what their home library is or where they go. And what we found is that a lot of our customers, they like our small branches, but they also go to our larger branches because we have a larger collection and we offer some more programs. So we have our customers that travel. But one of the things that we noticed in looking at our demographics is we have this kind of pocket of kind of underserved part of Adams County, which is on kind of this east side of I-25. So that's one of the reasons why we've kind of focused on looking for spaces along 120th to really create something that is accessible from folks that don't currently have library cards and may have barriers to getting to one of our facilities.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Kondo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for the presentation, and I do want to acknowledge the fact that you do have your mobile van that comes over every Friday at noon to the rec center, as well as the kiosk in the lobby there at the rec center. So thank you for that level of participation so far. I have two questions, and the first has to do with actually that mobile library. I wonder if you have given any thought to perhaps when you select a site, instead of just going into a lease right away for a storefront, whether you want to consider positioning that mobile library just to get a feel for how many people will come in, so that you're not fully stuck with a real estate location, or perhaps maybe part of your plan is to do a short-term lease with then something that extends to a longer time horizon. I wonder if you could speak to that.
Thank you. Our current mobile library is quite large, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the equivalent of like a full passenger bus. And so it is hard to park. If our new location is going to be located in a commercial real estate, I imagine that we would have some challenges in finding parking for the bus while we're in construction. So that is something to consider, although I would not just say no to that. It is something that we consider depending on parking space.
I would also add, We're in the process of expanding our mobile library options. So we're looking to purchase, we're actually in the process now of, we've designed a Sprinter van-sized vehicle to expand our outreach services to underserved parts of the county. So we hope to have that vehicle available in probably by Q3 of next year. And really that's going to help us understand where we can extend our service. So through the work that we're doing, if we find that there's interest in a particular retail establishment, we could look at having the Sprinter van there and promote like the future location of a express library, or just understand kind of the interest from the community in that particular location. So your advice is your advice is good for us to consider. Also, one of the things that we're noticing working with a real estate agent is because of our model for a self-service location, we have to market that proposition a little bit differently than a commercial business coming into the space, because people will generate revenue in other stores by having a drop-in location where people are going to do their laundry or drop off their dry cleaning or go to the gym and go to their library to get their materials. But we're not generating revenue specifically out of the space. And looking at the self-service options, the security part of this, it's going to require a special kind of landlord to work with us on that project. So these are just some realities that we're facing as we look at potential future spaces and work with landlords that want to go with our model. And we're getting this feedback from our agent. So those are a couple other things that make it a little bit more challenging than just saying, oh, this space is perfect, let's move in there.
Okay, thank you. And a follow-up question, and that is, have you considered partnering with, say, District 12, for example? And I'm just thinking anecdotally, the studio school has under 300 students, as to my knowledge. And so it leads me to believe that maybe there is footprint to be able to pull it in a library. And I just think to myself, when you see parents coming and going in the morning or in the afternoon, I mean, it's a great nexus to catch people when they're coming to pick up or drop off their kids. So I wonder if that thought may have entered your mind.
Can I clarify the question? Is this like having the library inside of the school?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Do you want to answer to that? Because York Street?
Sure. So I think one, we would be interested in kind of looking at all options that are presented to us. We did have a library that was part of the Skyview campus, and it was a public library on a school campus. And there were a couple challenges with that model. One challenge was parking. We had very few dedicated parking spaces for that library, and that impeded people's ability to access the library during the school day. And also, I think the public really felt like it was more of a school library than a public library, and adults were really discouraged from being there during the school day. So those are a couple of things that we had, the couple experiences we had with that particular library. And those would be things that we'd want to consider before committing to putting another public library in a school library space.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm glad that you've already tried that.
Yes, and I've been in other systems where they have had the same model and the barriers are the same. It also, you have to comply with the school hours. So if the school is closed, the library is closed. When the school closes, the library closes. So it is actually less hours that you can be open. It is an option, and but it does have its challenges.
And probably another version of how that service might work is it could be a destination for mobile services where we have a Sprinter van, at the school when school's getting out and when parents are picking up kids. So I think that one of the things that we're doing is, with our footprint that we have in Adams County with our current buildings, we know that we have to be creative in how we expand access to services, and we know that there are parts of the county that are underserved. So this, expanding this fleet of mobile vehicles is one of the things that Paola and her team is working on to, think creatively about how we reach people that can't get to us.
Well, I definitely agree. I mean, you need to go where the people are, so I'm glad you put some thought into that. Thank you.
Councilmember Goff.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. As other people have said, thank you so much for coming with this presentation. We appreciate your coming and participating in our events. I noticed in one of your photographs it was taken at right across the street here at the festival lawn, so that was great. A question that occurred to me, you didn't mention this. Would this be a location for people to pick up holds?
Yes, that's probably one of the main services of an express library is that you can put your holds and then just pick them up and then go.
So they'd be delivered from all, different library locations to this one?
Yes, this would be your pickup location, so.
Great. And then you said there are some obstacles, and you mentioned a few in locating a place, on the 120th corridor. If you have any ideas about how the city can, I don't know, grease some wheels or make some things easier or move some obstacles? I don't know. Let us know. We'd be interested, because that's one of the things we've heard so many times is that we really wish we had a library in Northglenn.
And I would just add, we've been working with the Economic Development Department to get leads. We had a really great lead for a really great space, but we ran into some challenges working with the owner, which was unfortunate. But we're actively looking.
Great. Well, thank you and good luck.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you so much for being here. There's definitely a direct correlation between access to books and reading and how well kids do in school, especially during breaks. For the families that can't afford books because books are very expensive, this is absolutely needed in our community. As Councilmember Goff said, we've been asking for one for a long time, so I'm glad to see there's kind of a creative way to do that. And then I have a couple of questions. One, in terms of the security with all the sensors and the monitors, is it monitored by a live person 24/7, or is it just complaint-based or reviewed afterwards? Like, how is that handled?
So a couple of things. One, the library that Jefferson County Public Library opened in Arvada, it's been open for 3 years, and the feedback that we've received from the staff that work supporting that location, they've only had 3 incidents in 3 years. And the residents that go to that library take ownership of that branch. So the way that the system works, you apply to get authorization with your library card. Once you have that authorization, then you can scan yourself in to the space using your library card as a key card, like a hotel key card.
Right.
And there, when you go through that process, there's some instructions about, not letting other people in if they're knocking on the door, right? Everybody needs the same key card access to be able to gain entry. So in Arvada, the community there has really they self-police the location because they take ownership of it. And they really like having that space, and they knew that if there were a lot of security incidents, that space would probably not be available to folks. So that's feedback that we received for that particular library. And with our monitoring system, it would be the way that we have our security right now in all of our locations is we contract out with a security service, and so we've got folks in all of our libraries in the afternoons and evenings. And then for when the libraries are closed, we have a patrol service that we work with. What we're anticipating for this particular space is that we would have the same patrol service. Make 2 or 3 visits a night to this facility at different times so that they could monitor from the outside what's going on. And then with the video surveillance, it's all digital surveillance, so it's in real time. We've got web links to be able to monitor what's going on. And then we would have some audio monitoring as well. So if a motion sensor was tripped after the library was closed, we would have somebody that would be able to check that out to see if it was, a dog or, something banging on the window versus somebody actually inside the building. So the security system is fairly sophisticated. And during the day, that monitoring would, we would have people be able to call us or contact us if something's going on. And we would have the live video feed to monitor. But we would also need to kind of understand what that supervision would look like once the library is open.
Okay, great. Thank you for that answer. I guess you have to be creative on how you provide security for something that's open 24/7. Is Jeffco the only other location that has an express library, or are there more?
Right now in Colorado, they're the only
Wow.
ones that have a self-service location. A couple of the photos that Paola had, there's one in Arizona and there's one in Texas as well.
Oh, that's
So
pretty
this
neat.
is fairly leading edge technology for kind of a self-service type model.
And Northglenn would get to have one. That's awesome. And then in terms of a lease, and I guess this kind of goes with community engagement and communication, how long of a lease are you looking at initially? I know negotiations with landlords and all that is a part, but like, is it kind of a pilot program for a short amount of time to see how it does, or what's the intention behind that?
So really, I would say that it depends on the owner of the space as far as the length of the term. I think that we are really interested in looking at a longer term commitment to get the return on the investment, knowing that we're going to invest in the infrastructure and in the build out of the space. So, we would be looking at a minimum of 5 years, probably longer. One of the things that we've learned just in kind of exploring this model is there's some language that we need to have included in the lease that where our board of trustees has to review and appropriate funds to support the lease annually. So that language has been seen as a little bit of a concern by some property owners because the board could say, well, 3 years into the lease, they're not going to appropriate the funds for the 4th year, and then they're kind of left hanging, right? So one of the things that we're kind of working on as we figure out this model is what's the language that we can use for negotiating a favorable term, with the landlord, and so that they feel really confident knowing that we're going to be a really great tenant. So these are a couple pieces where this relationship is really going to be based a lot on the kind of creative landlord or property owner that's willing to take a little bit of a risk on working with us, but we're going to be the best tenant they could have. So just based on, if you've been to any of our libraries and see the condition of our facilities and also what our staff do, we're going to provide great opportunities for the right property owner.
Well, I love hearing that, especially if you're working with Director Moding, then, she knows where all the good spaces are. I see she's sitting there. And then the very last thing was on that community engagement. I guess I'm trying to figure out the order. If you get a lease and it's ready to go immediately, they want you to sign it, is that going to go ahead and happen even before an initial survey? Is the hope to get that initial survey out before?
We're hoping to have a space before we start the survey, just because we don't want to create expectations in the community and then it's not going to happen. But we have it ready to go. So as soon as we have the space, we're ready to divulge that survey.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, Councilmember Jaramillo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One more question. So since I brought up earlier, I was referring to the Huron location on 105th in Colorado, the old location, which is now the Internal Support Services. Is there a possibility to just go back to that location and let's say the upper level, and where there's to possibly have this kind of offered, like this kind of services offered for everyone to go to in that location, and maybe downstairs have more of the internal support. That just comes to mind right away,
It's a really good idea, and actually it was one of the first ideas that we thought of, taking that facility and reconfiguring it. But one of the things that we're going through right now is we're actually going through a lot of growth as a library district, and that location is our support services location. So we have our facilities folks there. We're moving, community engagement is over there. Our collection development folks are over there. We've got IT over there. So we've actually outgrown that particular space, and we're actually looking at buying additional property elsewhere in the county so that we can have more space for our support staff that support the work of the public services. But even with that, we still need the entire building at Northglenn for support services, and just even for storage, IT. We have a crazy amount of computer and technology that is stored over there, and a lot of other things that can't be stored at our other public facilities go to Northglenn. So we did think about making one floor an express library service, but it doesn't quite work. That model doesn't quite work in a way that would provide the best customer experience, and it would. So we're wanting to really find a place in the community that's in a place where people already travel, where there are other services that they're wanting to access. And they can just stop by the library while they're buying their groceries or going to the bank or that works better for providing a more efficient kind of customer experience.
Right, thank you. And I thought of another location. So it's still at Washington Point, but it's located next to the PNC Bank, the current one. There's a space.
Looked at?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And we had conversations with the owner of that property, and there were some challenges, and that landlord wasn't as flexible as we would have liked them to be. But it would have been an ideal space.
Great. Well, thanks for all the questions from us, and thank you again for the work that you're doing.
Yeah, and I would just add, in addition to the additional stops that we have with the bookmobile and our mobile services, we also have been thinking of other ways to kind of expand awareness about library services in Northglenn. So, we did work with Michael on the community concert series and had one of our concerts here in Northglenn, and also just working with our event and program manager Ashley Garst, who's got lots of connections here in Northglenn. So we're actively looking for ways to further engage. So we know what it's like when we hear from folks in Northglenn about not having a physical library space, and we're working on trying to address that challenge.
Great. Yeah, I just imagine it in this area, the most densely populated area here, where we're at here at City Hall nearby. So thank you for that. Thanks.
So thank you. A lot of my colleagues have asked the questions that were on my mind. I think the top one was security. Secondly, I think, it can't be understated how much we want to partner and we want to have something for our residents. It's been my entire time on council, we've been saying, please, 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 we want a library here. And we keep getting told no and being very sad about it. And our residents keep asking, and it's just this hamster wheel we're on. So this could be a really amazing solution. I think one of my biggest questions, wondering, is can we make sure that it will be in Northglenn? Because when you talk about the 120th corridor, that could, depending on what side of the street you're on, that could end up being another asset for Thornton.
We've learned that too.
Okay. Yes. So I want to make sure, and then I understand that that's a decent, area for being in between the two locations, but it's not necessarily in the heart of our community. I think some other council members have mentioned that. So if we're the marketplace, I think we've heard is a big no, because it is close to the Huron location. There are other opportunities perhaps not necessarily on 120th. And so I'm hoping that your real estate agent is open to something not just on that street. Is that, okay.
Yes, we're open to other locations. We just, we're trying to, we're learning, right?
Okay.
I think like that's the thing. We're learning. We learned that oh, there's this side of 120 and the other side of 120. So we actually passed on a place just because it wasn't located in Northglenn. But we're open to recommendations, and if you have anything that you think might work for this project, then we're open to look at it.
Well, and I know council members can toss out address after address, but it's really not our job. It's our Director of Economic Development. So I'm assuming, I was wondering if Allison could come up and speak to, like, what is this collaboration look like from your end? Are you able, what assistance can you provide?
So when we first opened our conversations with Anythink, we did provide, I think, 3 or 4 different locations when we initially met. They indicated to us at that time that they were going to hire a commercial real estate broker, and so I view that as a partnership. Maybe we can bring things as we hear that spaces might be coming available but aren't yet on the market. Obviously, it's easy to find what's out there. It's harder to find those listings that maybe aren't quite public yet. So,
Okay.
So about once a week, I look through the list of, hey, what's new, and look to see if there's any information that we can share. But we'll be creative. And again, 120th would be great, but Washington, there could be some potential on Washington Street there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be
I mean, it's super tricky to find a location that is accessible and safe. We want to make sure that there's, proper lighting and proper traffic. And I appreciate the example. I love the plan. I think the plan is fantastic, even without the dates. How it's going to unfold, I think, is really great. It makes me think of those, I don't know if they're called SNAP gyms or whatever, like the no staff fitness centers. It still makes me nervous thinking that, there could be something that happens. I think the question from Mayor Pro Tem was pretty spot on as far as what happens if, like how monitored is the security system, right? Is it like the ones we have on our home and we can look at it later and find out, do backtrack and pull data for investigation? Or is it real time and someone gets alerted that there's an incident? I wasn't quite clear on that part.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that I think that going in, we would, look at over monitoring versus under monitoring and kind of really understand what the need is. And we're going to adapt to what the need is, because if we're signing a 5-year lease on a place, we're committed. And, and safety and security is something that's top of mind for all of our locations. So it would be the same for this facility as well.
Okay. I appreciate that. I think it's a very exciting opportunity, and yet, we have some limited options for space. And so we're going to try not to get discouraged while we wait. Will we get an update at some point?
We will be happy to provide an update when
we find a place.
Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds great. That's all the questions I have, and I'm the last one. So thank you for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. It is a really exciting opportunity. Thanks. Well, we'll keep our Director of Economic Development at the podium for the Shop Local updates.
I'm not going too far away. So good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to pull up my presentation here. Super excited tonight to be here to talk about Shop Local. We've been, Northglenn been doing Shop Local, I don't know how long. I tried to find a date, but I think a long time. And of course, you all know that Shop Local campaigns are pretty common in communities where it makes sense to remind residents why they should support local businesses. And so I think the secret, the magic is in the sauce and how you make those programs work. So campaigns are often run by cities, or sometimes you'll see chambers of commerce or downtown development associations, anyone that represents groups of businesses. And I know we pride ourselves on our relationship with our business community, and particularly our storefront businesses. So tonight we are, eventually it's going to move to the next one. I know it is. I just wanted to share a sneak peek. We've been working with John Eisel and our communications and events staff to kind of refresh the Shop Local look that we've been using for the past number of years. And we thought this was a really great opportunity. And the strategic plan, we called out taking a purposeful look at Shop Local in ways that we could enhance that message to residents. We've been doing kind of 4 general categories of Shop Local efforts over the years. In our general marketing, we always include Shop Local, Shop Northglenn, Shop and Dine are kind of the 3 messages that we have been sending whenever possible in economic development printed materials. Our monthly business newsletter, The Connection, will include that as well. And I think I have some examples in here too. There we go. So the website on the left there, that's our current Shop and Dine, the front page of our business directory. The mayor was so kind last month to highlight the Shop Local, the business directory online. We've also done, this is the utility billing mailer that has traditionally gone out in October, November, ahead of Shop Small Saturday, or the Small Business Saturday, which is the last, or is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. This particular piece shows people where they can shop in Northglenn. The reverse side talks about why it's important to shop local, keeping tax dollars here in Northglenn. We do digital billboards. We have some great partnerships with Mile High Outdoor as well as the Northglenn Marketplace. So we do get a few precious little slides on those billboards that allow us to get lots of looks as folks are driving by on I-25. And then every fall we hand out shopping bags to our storefront businesses, and then they in turn distribute those out to their customers. The holiday promotion is probably our biggest push for Shop Local. That makes the most sense as people are starting to think about buying Christmas gifts, but we also throughout the year, Valentine's Day, Easter, back to school, we do try to do those digital billboard slides to address all those different pieces. So we felt like it was time for a new look. Shop Local is very to the point, but we wanted to do something a little bit different. And so we did a lot of brainstorming with some of the brightest minds in Northglenn. And we came up with Keep It Local Northglenn. This particular Shop Local message is a fun, friendly encouragement to residents, reminding them that their choice to support local businesses matters, and to reinforce that businesses to them that they're also part of our local economy. This image is designed to blend in well with our established branding. So you'll see it's, echoes the same colors, the same fonts that we typically use. And really excited to start sharing the message. And that's where the fun is going to happen, where we have opportunities to really do some new and different things. And so one of those things we're going to, we often hear it's not always clear where our borders are, right? You can step right across, right over the line, and you could be in Thornton, you can be in Westminster. So we want to make an opportunity for businesses to put a window cling at their front door to say, hey, you're in Northglenn, so keeping it local in Northglenn. We're also going to be putting together welcome baskets for all of our new businesses as they join, get their certificates of occupancy and start operating here. This little welcome basket will have resources, information, key reminders to help us keep in touch with those new businesses and really help to create connections with them, remind them to talk to their customers and say, hey, you should be shopping locally here in Northglenn as well. And then we also want to continue to look at reward programs. There are a number of programs. One that is used, I've seen a few places here in Colorado that use Blue Dot. It's kind of a tracking program that offers special deals to shoppers and then rewards them either in cash or coupons to shop in our community. So those typically have a higher price tag for in terms of participation. A couple of examples, I mentioned Blue Dot. There's also one called Community Rewards. Yifty is a gift card-based program that we're doing some research into, as well as one called Factor 4. So those will be something that we can look at as budget allows, but many of these shop local efforts, it's just about using our logo, it's using our taglines, and just repeating it as much as we can and reminding folks that every penny really does count when it comes to sales tax collections for us. So that's where the new campaign, we've completed this all in-house. And so we plan to accommodate as much as we can with our existing economic development budget, either just kind of reallocating money where we need to. Again, every year we have done the shopping bags. We'll have obviously a new look for our shopping bags this year, and we'll be distributing those hopefully right before Small Business Saturday. So the reason I'm here tonight, I am wanting to share this new look with you, but also get your feedback. Any places where you see opportunities for us to share the shop local message with the community, also with the businesses. I think one great opportunity we have is our online directory, encouraging businesses to utilize that directory more in a bigger way. They can customize their individual listings, and we get great Google responses or great Google search results when people, if you Google Northglenn, trying to think of an example, like a diner, Gunther Tootie's would almost certainly come up as part of our listing. So we know we get great Google results with that directory, and we want to encourage more businesses to use that. So looking for fun new ways to share the message. I'm going to stop talking, let you all share any thoughts or comments, and I'll let you all chime in.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Goff?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director Moding. This all looks great. I do like the new design, and I just want to make sure that that's going to go on the new shopping bags, if I'm understanding that right. And then the other thing I was thinking is, I know at some of our other events, there's opportunities that, the city tables or whatever have given out bags. And I think if this was given out more often, it's a reminder to people. They see it when they're going to go out and go shopping, and they grab the bag, and it's kind of reminding them that. So if there's, like festivals or concerts or something where there's a booth or a table, it might be nice to give some of these away, and that's my idea. Yep. But anyway, thank you.
Yes, and I think Noel Northglenn is a perfect first. It's going to be coming right up, and I think that would be a great way to get this out there. So.
Councilmember Kondo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess the first question I have for you, Director Moding, is I think we've already started off with the staff on doing a new marketing and branding initiative, and I'm just curious, are you dovetailing with that activity so that whatever new logo you're coming up is going to get some placement and consideration in our branding efforts?
Absolutely, and I think, again, we were very purposeful in ensuring that we worked with staff to make this reflect our existing branding. We want to be consistent. We want to create that recognition across all city activities and all of the printed materials we do. We do so many great things, and so yes, absolutely, this will be part of that.
Okay, gotcha. And then looking at slide 7, I guess that's the current material. So are you suggesting then that the logo on slide 8 will actually be prominently now featured on these digital billboards, or for that matter, any other signage that you are producing?
So we didn't want to get too far down the road of designing, but yes, I think we will find some fun ways to incorporate this into the billboards. We'll be assuming we got some positive feedback today, we wanted to wait. We'll proceed with the banners that we put out at the intersections, again, before Small Business Saturday, the digital billboards, some of those big pieces.
Okay, gotcha. As far as the logo, I guess, my comment, I do like it. The fact that you have local in yellow, obviously that stands out, kind of like the McDonald's golden arches are yellow. But the other thing I remember from my marketing classes is that red actually catches people's attention. So I don't know if you've considered that color at all, but I just offered that up for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Roper?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for this presentation. This is really a fresh look, and of course, I loved our old logo, but this is a really fresh way of looking at it, and I do love the emphasis on keep it local, and wonderful job. This is great.
Yeah, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I love the logo. I think it looks great. I think the yellow looks really good, so great job on that. A couple of questions in terms of promoting like the Small Business Saturday. Are you working with any of the landlords? So of course, I don't want to just focus just on the marketplace, but like HCP comes to mind, things that don't cost the city anything, but can be put on the landlords to promote an event on Small Business Saturday, like have a stage or have, I don't know, a petting zoo, something to draw people there and to help them kind of, visit those businesses. Of course, the painted tree comes to mind too, that I feel just doesn't get enough attention, or people don't know it exists, outside of Northglenn, and even within Northglenn. So I would love to see something like that. And again, depends on the landlord. I get that, and the property owner, but that only helps them if their businesses do better and, drives traffic there. So that's one idea. And then in terms of promotion to reaching out, and again, I'm just going to use the marketplace because it's just an easy one, but like news channels and local newspapers outside of the connections, like the Sentinel, to promote Small Business Saturday too could be a nice way to get the word out there too. Especially if you manage to find incentives to tie in with that, like Blue Dot or something like that. So that was another thought, and I do think, again, something like the painted tree could make it on the news, like Northglenn is hosting, their Small Business Saturday. Have you seen this? This is incredible. I don't know, just a thought, an idea. And then the last thing I had was, are there other city events that we could promote at, which Councilmember Goff already mentioned. And no, actually one more thing. Do we have that IG account set up yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
It's on the list, so.
Just the
Yes,
target.
we're finding that Instagram is, not ready to like dip my toe into TikTok yet, but we think Instagram could be a good complement to the Facebook, and we do some LinkedIn, which does appeal to the business community, but we think Instagram could be a really fun way to add to that. And we've got some great events coming up with really some fun new businesses opening and having some ribbon cuttings coming up. So now would be the time to take advantage of that. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to reach a missing demographic. I know I talk to a lot of people and they're like, Facebook is for old people, is what they tell me. So getting on Instagram, since we are kind of a young median age community, I think it would be worth it. So, all right, that's all I got. Thank you.
I think you touched on something. I think you're channeling Councilmember Burns. She's not here, but yeah, she's here in spirit. Yeah, I think, I guess I was wondering about the partnership with communications, because this is great and this is exciting and we want to do this. I think it falls in the overall package. I'm looking over at our deputy city manager. It falls in the overall package of communications and marketing and PR. And I think as we start to develop that and lean in, and we're going to do that work, I think we need to include this piece, right? Because I like the new logo. I think it's great. I look forward to it. I think the landing page is great. The news idea, it's not hard to reach out and say, hey, we're promoting this, right? All those news outlets will be like 9 things to do this weekend, 7 things to do this weekend, right? Be one of those things, and try to get people up here. So, and it's a big, everything fits together, right? And we can't solve it all in one moment. I don't think Massachusetts is calling me, but I'm going to find out. This could be nothing, but carry on.
I will step in. It doesn't look like we have any other questions. Do we have any other questions? No? Okay, well, what, did somebody have their hand up? Hold on. I do not see any hands up. You're trying to read, okay, Councilmember Jaramillo, just go for it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, I definitely think it's a huge opportunity for Instagram. I've been on it already for almost 15 years, so I mean, it's not, it's not new. But there's a lot of other stuff that's been coming up, but I feel like it's here to stay. I agree with Councilmember Kondo about between the green and the blue on the circle. I think adding the red will help tie in more of our logo with Northglenn and create more of like a target that guides your eye, as you mentioned. Yep. So it'll be like, you know, it's a target, like a destination, like guides your eye, and I think it'd just be more effective because it'll help tie in all the colors of our logo. Other than that, I checked out the shopnorthglenn.org business directory, and it was really cool just to, you know, see, you know, if I'm looking for something, I can look and see all the different businesses that are here in Northglenn and whatever they offer, or that way we can keep our money here local and support small businesses. And as you look through the directory, they're mostly small businesses, and you know, we have small business owners here on the dais, and we can all attest that it's great when you're able to you know, make a living doing what you love too. So I support as many local businesses as I can here in Northglenn. I make a conscious effort, and I'll continue to do so. But thanks again. But yeah, I think that just maybe a little more red would guide the eye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your patience. So I don't know. I personally would leave the logo to the team that created it. I think it's fine. I don't know. To me, red would change the whole look. I don't know.
Red's a little like a exclamation point, like dramatic, or.
And our red is a little orangey anyway. Here's the thing, we also don't want to overthink it.
Yeah.
And so I guess I would like to find out, we had a couple council members with opinions. Do we have enough council members that want to leave it alone? Or do you want to see a variety of options before we move forward?
I might also add, I think we could, I mean, that color in the middle, it might depend on where it's being used, right? I think they're, like the window clings, we know because they're sort of clear, might need a color that's going to stand out better. So I think we could probably, I'd hate to say mix and match colors, obviously within the same palette, but depending on the placement of that logo, maybe we can incorporate red where it makes sense. We can leave it yellow where it makes sense.
Well, I guess I'm trying to find out from council if you are expecting Director Moding to come back with options, like drafts of logos. No. Okay, well, we have enough people saying no that I think we're going to just trust your team to do what you need to do. Not that feedback isn't appreciated, but I don't know that it's really our job to work on this, to get into this level. I think the policy conversation about the shop local, the rebranding, the fact that you're really digging in is really appreciated. So, thank you.
Yep, we're excited, so keep your eye out. There'll be more to come.
Okay. Councilmember Kondo, did you have a final thought or question?
No, ma'am. You know, again, I just offered food for thought since Director Moding had asked us what we thought about it. So
Yep.
I am not wedded to changing it. I
Okay.
figured staff can figure it out.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we are going to, I will adjourn the study session. I'm going to now call to order the special city council meeting of October 6, 2025. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Leidy,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Luke Manjero-Massa, Here. Councilmember Burns is absent. Councilmember Jaramillo.
Here.
Councilmember Kondo.
Here.
Councilmember Roper.
Here.
Councilmember Goff.
Here.
Councilmember Nowicki is absent. Councilmember Walker.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion that the city council meet in executive session pursuant to Section 4.5A of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for personnel matters regarding the city clerk performance evaluation.
So moved.
Second.
Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I vote yes.
All righty. I will close that vote, and the motion to meet in executive session passes unanimously.
We will adjourn to the executive session.